Week 1 is in the books. It is now time to move on to week 2 of our NFL season coverage. This is going to be a fun episode because it went pretty well for me in week 1 on many cases, specifically the predictions and my fantasy football, and we're going to get into that. But in today's episode, we're going to go through the same format, looking over the fantasy matchup of last week and moving forward fantasy football and the predictions for this upcoming week. So I hope you guys are excited. Let's get into this. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit subscribe and go follow me on all my social medias as I tend to post every single week. Let's do this. Last week, I won 127-80, and I'm going 1-0 to start off the year. Didn't go so hot last year. Now I get to have a better start to this season. I got 127 points because Kyler Murray put up 25. Barkley had 14. Jacobs had 12. 4 players were below 6 points, but then the Denver Broncos defense put up 57 points in my league, which was better than my opponents having Brock Purdy with 30 points, having CeeDee Lamb with 21 points, and then everybody else was single digit with A.J. Brown having 0 points. It was a good week for me, and I'm looking to capitalize on that. So without further ado, let's get to the matchup of this week. My lineup for this week is Kyler Murray at quarterback, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Amarian Hampton at running back, Tyreek Hill at wide receiver, and we're putting in DJ Moore for this week as he faces Detroit. We're also putting in Cameron Dicker as my kicker and the Los Angeles Rams defense because Denver is playing an Indianapolis Colts team that put up 33 points versus a Titans team that put up 12 points. So because of that, we're running with the Rams. And my opponent, on the other hand, has Jaden Daniels of Washington, Alvin Kamara, Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison Jr., Zay Flowers, Daniel Carlson, and the Washington defense, which a little ill-advised if you ask me. I wouldn't start Washington's defense against Green Bay, but that's just me. I am projected to win this matchup, and I feel really good about it because Daniels is playing against the Green Bay defense, which only allowed Detroit to have 13 points, and I think that it's going to be tough for Daniels, even though I have Washington winning, as you've seen in the shorts. So that will be the matchup for fantasy. Now, let's get into all the 15 games we're going to be looking over in today's episode. Let's do this. Last week, I went 11-5. I even got the Bengals and the Browns score correct, 17-16. The only ones I got wrong, I said Kansas City would win. They did not win. I said that Miami would destroy the Colts. The Colts instead did the opposite to Miami. I said New York would win close, and Pittsburgh instead ended up winning. I said the Patriots would win against the Raiders. That did not end up happening. And then lastly, I said that the Lions would beat the Packers in a close one. Instead, the Packers beat them pretty soundly. Those are the only 5 I got wrong. Everything else I got right. So we're starting 11-5, a pretty good start to the year. But let's see if we can capitalize. I already said Washington would beat Green Bay. Obviously, we will know how that goes by the time this episode goes out. That game will already be concluded. So we'll see how that goes. But let's get into today's predictions. First matchup is Jacksonville and Cincinnati, who are both at 1-0. The Bengals had a rough start once again. This time they beat Cleveland, and they're starting off 1-0, which good for them. They're generally not that great early on, but they still did not look spectacular. They were at one point trailing pretty late, and that's something that Cincinnati has been known to do early on in a year under Joe Burrow, under Zach Taylor, which is just odd. Jacksonville, on the other hand, they did put up 26 points, but they held Carolina really low, which shouldn't mean a lot. Obviously, it is Jacksonville at the end of the day. It is Carolina, who is not that great because the Bengals did not play super hot. Sounds weird. Give me Jacksonville to win 20-17. I still think the Bengals have struggling moments early on. It showed against Cleveland. They still won, but barely. I think Jacksonville will take care of business and beat the Bengals. Close game, but give me Jacksonville. Cincinnati still has trouble getting out the gates fast. Next up, we have a rivalry between two teams that lost in week 1, the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants looked bad. Similar Giants team we're used to, still haven't scored a touchdown in their opening game in the last 3 years. No, it's not good. It's not good enough at all. They have to do better, and they're They're not. Dallas, on the other hand, I thought they were going to get screwed pretty badly against Philadelphia. I thought they were going to lose bad. They played a really good game. Just CeeDee Lamb, he was frustrating in most of the game and dropped crucial passes that could have given Dallas the victory. Overall, Dallas lost to Philly because they could not convert on big plays. It's not as to say is that they did bad, they did good. The Cowboys actually played a great game against Philadelphia. Early on, drive after drive, they kept scoring. It was good. And defensively, they got together and they were able to stop Jalen Hurts. Just didn't work out in the end. But it will work out this week because I have Dallas huge, 38-17 over the Giants. Giants have nothing going on. Dallas's offense actually looks really impressive, and if they play the way against Philadelphia versus every other team, this is a playoff team. Maybe not a Super Bowl team, but is a playoff team. And that is worlds better than where the Giants are right now. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Both suffered losses early on. Detroit lost bad. Chicago lost close. This is Ben Johnson's return to Detroit, this time as the head coach for Chicago. Detroit looked horrible against Green Bay. It just, nothing was moving for them. The Packers were worlds better than the Lions that day. The Bears, for the most part, were leading up until that fourth quarter against a Minnesota team that I think if JJ McCarthy can get it together, that team is a Super Bowl contender. Because defensively, I love their team. Offensively, I love the weapons that JJ has. And that's why I have them as Super Bowl contenders if they can continue that. Overall, I think that Ben Johnson has a foot over Detroit. Obviously, he knows Detroit's scheme. He knows exactly what they're going to do. Give me the Bears to win 24-23. I think that if Detroit can't get this next win, there's going to be a lot of questions and it's going to be a long year for the Lions. Give me Chicago. Next up, we have the LA Rams, who are 1-0 versus the Tennessee Titans, who are 0-1. LA got done winning a close, kind of sloppy game against Houston. Meanwhile, Tennessee, they couldn't really do much against Denver's really high-powered defense. And I kind of saw it that way, but it is what it is for the Titans. I think overall, the Rams are roster-wise, they're way better on both ends. I think the Tennessee's defense isn't that great. I don't think their offense is really up to par, similar to LA's offense, who I think is going to be spectacular. Give me the Rams to win 28-25. I think that this is going to be really close, though. I do think you're going to see a little bit of Cam Ward start to come out of his shell and play a lot better, but overall, I want the Rams in a matchup like this. Pair of teams to go 0-1 as well. Another rivalry. We got the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. So I understand New England is still trying to get things together, but there's no excuse for the Dolphins' play. What happened to Miami? You lost to Daniel Jones and he put up 33 points over you. He only put up a measly 8 points. Bad game for Miami. But New England also didn't look spectacular. They have some nice weapons, but they didn't look great against the Raiders team, which is actually better on paper than I thought they were going to be early on. But that's just, still, I thought the Patriots would have had the advantage there. They didn't. They lost. But even with that, even with Miami looking horrible, I'm going to take the Dolphins to win 20-17. A close one, rivalry obviously. Miami needs this win, because if they lose again, there is no telling the kind of scorched earth campaign against that team that is going to happen for multiple fan bases, including their own. They need to win. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers versus the New Orleans Saints. The 49ers won their game against Seattle last minute. New Orleans almost had a chance to beat Arizona. It didn't work out that way, but this one to me is really easy. Despite the fact that the 49ers, they just lost Kittle, injured reserve. I just checked on fantasy, injured reserve. You had New Orleans, who just, I don't know Spencer Rattler's the option. I don't think he's the right quarterback for the job. That's just my personal opinion. As far as San Francisco goes, they still looked really great. They're going to have Christian McCaffrey. He's going to do well. Jawan Jennings, going to do well. Ricky Pearsall, going to do well. For me, it's really easy. I'm going to take the 49ers to win 27-19. New Orleans has a ways to go. They need to get something going at the quarterback position. Otherwise, it's not going to work out for them. Next up, we have the Bills and the Jets. The Bills came back 15 down in the fourth quarter to beat Baltimore 41-40. I also got their score correct, not Baltimore's, but I got Buffalo's score correct, so yay. Very unconventional, though. They were 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions, which wasn't great, but Josh Allen just keeps chipping away. You cannot count him out. And Henry's fumble, big moment for Buffalo. The Jets played a great game versus Pittsburgh. I actually thought they played amazing. Aaron Rodgers had himself a vintage game, so there's nothing much you can do there. I do think the Jets are a really high competitor in this game because it is a rivalry matchup in the Meadowlands. They tend to play very close to Buffalo here. I think Buffalo's win over Baltimore was a huge spark for that team. I believe Buffalo is going to win 31-24. Close game. It's a one-score possession, but I trust Josh Allen more than I trust Justin Fields in a matchup like this. Give me Allen and the Bills to go 2-0. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seattle started off 0-1, close loss to San Francisco, but it was a very low-scoring game. Wasn't anything special to watch, really, if you're a fan of both teams. It wasn't who really cared much about that game, if any bits. For Pittsburgh, on the other hand, Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns in his matchup against New York. An amazing, amazing game for Aaron Rodgers. And now he's coming home to Pittsburgh, and you're playing against the Seattle team, which a quarterback that I'm not super stoked about in Sam Darnold. The wide receiver core didn't look incredible against San Francisco. This one's really easy. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to win 28-16. I just don't see Seattle having what it takes to really move up and down on this Pittsburgh defense. But I have all the hopes in the world on Aaron Rodgers being able to play a lot better coming into this year, really, not just simply better against the Jets, but better in general from last year, in which even though he put up good stats, he wasn't spectacular. He wasn't all world. I think this is a matchup that will show that Aaron Rodgers can really lead Pittsburgh to the promised land if he has a shot to do so and really keep up in this tough AFC North division. A pair of 0-1 teams. It's Cleveland, it's Baltimore. Another big rivalry, but really it's not as big as you think it's going to be, because Cleveland, they were tough against Cincinnati, but again, we're talking about a Cincinnati team that never starts hot. And yet they still lost to a Bengals team who they beat 2 years ago, which is just kind of insane to think about. How do you beat a Bengals team like that? I don't know. The other team, Baltimore, you blew a 15-point lead to Buffalo with less than 4 minutes to go. That was horrible. A bad showing by the Ravens. But here's the thing. That should have sparked a fire, because I have you winning 31-14. Baltimore is way better than Cleveland on almost every single front imaginable. Baltimore ought to destroy the Browns. And if they don't do it, if the Browns win this game, I might want to start fearing a little bit Baltimore. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers at 0-1 versus the Arizona Cardinals, who are 1-0 currently. First of all, Carolina, come on. Jacksonville isn't the toughest team in the world. And I didn't think you were going to beat the Jaguars, but I thought you would have played a lot closer. You had that one amazing play by J.C. Horn, but after that, you had nothing going for you. And then on the other hand, you had Arizona. Arizona put up a respectable performance. I think that New Orleans could have done a lot better. I think that Arizona could have done a lot better, but it is what it is. It was a nice showing by Kyler Murray. I do think he played pretty well in that matchup. This one should be really easy for the Cardinals, really. They should win this game 31-20. I don't understand why Carolina just cannot get it working. It's not working for them. Arizona, on the other hand, they have so many pieces that can work for them. I believe that the Cardinals are going to do very well, start off 2-0. That's a nice pace for Arizona. The rematch of Super Bowl 59 is in Arrowhead between Philadelphia, who is 1-0, versus Kansas City, who is 0-1. But both teams had issues in their first game. While Philadelphia ended up winning, Jalen Carter had one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It was so stupid how that game started. Dallas ran all over them. It wasn't good for Philadelphia. Really, Jalen Hurts played spectacular in the first half, and Saquon Barkley did get going late in that first half. But overall, Eagles could have done a lot better. They did not. It was a poor showing by Philadelphia. But Kansas City, on the other hand, got rocked on all ends. It was a close game, don't get me wrong, but the Chargers were just so much better than Kansas City. Now you lost Xavier Worthy to injury, and it just, right now, it's not looking good. You have Hollywood Brown as your number one, Juju Smith-Schuster as your number two. You don't really have much going for you. Even though it's at home, the Chiefs are going to start 0-2, because I have Philadelphia winning 34-20. There was more talent in that Philadelphia offense overall than Kansas City had to deal with Los Angeles. And if you thought Los Angeles was tough, imagine what it's going to be like facing Philly. It's not going to be pretty. Next up, we have Sunday Night Football between the 0-1 Atlanta Falcons and the 1-0 Minnesota Vikings. Starting with Atlanta. Really, it came down to a missed field goal by Younghoe Koo, but I don't fault Atlanta in that game much, because Michael Penix Jr. put up a masterclass game. He did amazing. Having that offense around him is incredible. With Bijan Robinson in the backfield, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, this team is actually extremely talented. It just came down to a missed field goal. That's all it took for the Falcons to lose. But while Minnesota for the first 3 quarters played bad against Chicago, that fourth quarter was electrifying. JJ McCarthy looked like a star in that fourth quarter. Really, both quarterbacks. Think about it. Penix was drafted 2 spots ahead of JJ McCarthy. And yet, they both played amazing. Penix put up a masterclass. JJ McCarthy was clutch in the fourth quarter. Now these two teams play in Minnesota. It is going to be an extremely close game. But again, I talk about Minnesota being close to a Super Bowl contender, and I'm going to be very accurate when I say I think that they're going to win in a close match against Atlanta, 26-24. I really trust JJ McCarthy right now in these late game situations. Now, this is going to be a bigger challenge. I think Atlanta is better than Chicago. But overall, I think that you're going to have the home crowd behind you. You have an incredible offense. He ought to start getting out of his shell and really using that offense more. And if he does, he's going to be a tough quarterback to beat in the NFC and the NFL altogether. Now we have a double header for Monday Night Football, starting with the 1-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the 0-1 Houston Texans. The Texans put up a measly 9 points against LA. That's not great. That is bad. But Tampa Bay, on the other hand, it was a really tough game against Atlanta. Again, Atlanta did really well, but Tampa Bay got clutched at the end. They ended up winning. It was a good game overall, and the Buccaneers, offensively, I like what I see. I do. I think that they have a fun offense to deal with. This one is going to be a lot closer. It's in Houston. I think that Stroud is going to figure out something, because he has to figure out something. Unlike the matchup a couple years ago where Stroud put on a masterclass against Tampa Bay, I'm actually going to give Tampa Bay the edge in this one, 24-21, because I think that there's a lot of issues going on with Houston that need to be addressed, and I don't think they have enough time to address it against a team like Tampa Bay. Give me the Buccaneers. And then the last matchup on Monday night, we have two 1-0 teams, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll start with the Raiders for a sec. Great win. New England is not the hottest team in the world, but it was a good win nonetheless. I think that they did fine. I think that there's a lot of talent there that is going to be used properly. On the other hand, the Chargers were the best team in week 1. They handled Kansas City almost with ease. They were aggressive. They were not playing scared that a lot of teams do against Kansas City. They were very active. I loved what I saw. Defensively, they were strong. Offensively, they were aggressive. That's what I want to see from a team that's led by Jim Harbaugh. I got exactly what I wanted from the Chargers, and I'm very happy with what I saw, and it's going to reflect in this game. I have the Chargers winning 30-17. When you're able to pass the ball in a Jim Harbaugh offense the way Justin Herbert did, throwing for 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, that is a winning formula. If the Chargers are going to get to a Super Bowl, that's the formula. That's it. That's how you beat a Raiders team with a pretty good offense, not such a stellar defense on the opposite end. I believe that overall, this is the Chargers' game to win. It's also the game for them to lose. They lose this game, that's not going to be on the Raiders. I think it's going to be on the Chargers. I don't see how they lose this game. And that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today was a fun episode to make. A lot more energy from me. I was very excited with a lot of teams, very disappointed in many teams from last week. And I'm hoping in fantasy I can move on to 2-0 and really keep going on in a league that is very tough and very tight to deal with. So I hope you guys are excited for that, for the whole season. Obviously, we're still getting into it. You saw what my college predictions were and my top 25 reactions and the current playoff stuff. That stuff is going to be reserved for shorts. And then you have best, worst for both college and NFL teams that I like to put up there. Fantasy situation for a Monday night game, and you'll see it all on shorts every single week. So I hope you guys are excited for that. And if you like today's episode, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Ask questions. I'll be able to try answering them these episodes. I didn't really get to see much, so I didn't answer anything, but we will start answering questions. Just start commenting down what you want to hear, what you want to see in these episodes, and I'll be able to put them out for you guys to see. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.